Great. So we have got Vicky Godfrey with us. She is a naturopathic nutritional therapist, and she has co-founded an app called DNA Pal, and it's a nutrigenomics app, which Vicky can talk a little bit more about because that's not my area of expertise. But basically, it analyzes your genetics and it gives you personalized advice based on like what your body can and can't do from a genetic standpoint. So it's really interesting that there's certain people who can process alcohol and some people who can't process alcohol. So it'd be really interesting to hear some more things about that. But also Vicky's been on her own journey as well, coming from a very stressful corporate background, realizing that it was not helpful towards her health and decided to go down the route of nutrition. So Vicky's got a really strong background when it comes to talking about the body and how alcohol affects the body. Vicky's also a really good friend of mine, and I can remember when I was still drinking myself, Vicky would always be telling me about the toxic effects of alcohol, and I think they must have trickled slowly into my subconscious because like she's very she was always on the ball telling me about what it is and isn't doing to my body. So yeah, and if anyone's got any questions as we're going along, please feel free to you can raise your hand using the reactions, or you can just unmute yourself and ask. Very welcome to just jump in and ask as we're going along. So let's get my questions. Vicky, would you like to add anything about your background with your training?
Sorry, hold on. I'm having. Can you hear me and see?
Yeah, you're there.
Right, sorry. I'm back on the laptop now. I'm sorry, I've been having tech problems and the phone went and I froze. So then I tried to move across. So apologies there. Sorry, Kristen, would you like to ask that again?
Yeah, do you want to add anything about your background, your training, what it is you do exactly? Maybe you can tell us a bit more about the genetic side of things.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. And I'm Vicky, as Kristen has kindly introduced me. So, yeah, I was a TV producer for 20 years, won lots of awards, drunk a hell of a lot of alcohol, did a lot of other things that come along with that alcohol. We were absolutely encouraged within TV to drink alcohol. I used to work at the BBC, and we used to have a drinks trolley that would come around at 5:30 in the name of bonding. We used to get taken to Cardiff for like huge piss ups under the guise of, sorry to use that word, under the guise of, I couldn't think of the proper polite word, under the guise of brainstorming, coming up with new creative ideas that actually never ever made it to air. And I worked at another company. I worked at a comedy company on the Frank Skinner show. And if you went home at 1 o'clock, you were considered a lightweight, but staying out till 4 a.m. was okay. But you still had to be back at your desk at 9:30, 10 o'clock the next morning. So that was quite a lifestyle. And then my light bulb moment was I started yoga teacher training because yoga was really helping me with my migraines. I got monthly migraines with my period. And to become a yoga teacher, you have to go off and do various yoga, different yoga trainings, different classes. And what I realized when I left work for the production office at 6:30, 7 o'clock, I would always go, oh, can't wait to get home to get that wine. Can't wait to get to the pub to get that vodka, and that was my complete de-stress mechanism or tool that I had been taught through society, I suppose, had taught me, and my jobs had taught me that. And it was a real light bulb that I'd come out of yoga, I'd go to this yoga class and can't wait for the wine, can't wait for the vodka, and I'd get out and I'd go, oh, I don't need it. Oh my God, I don't need that glass. I don't need anything. I can go home, just have a really healthy meal and a hot bath and go to bed. So that was one enlightening moment. Then a second enlightening moment for me was when I turned 40. I suddenly just cannot tolerate alcohol. Alcohol now, if I drink it, gives me terrible anxiety. Call it hangxiety at 3 a.m. in the morning. then I can't sleep, and then I'm a mess the next day, and I spend half the day in bed. If I drink wine now, I can feel it like a poison traveling all the way through the body up to the brain, and I can feel it dumbing me down. So there's some of the experiences that I've had. So I wouldn't say I was a very strict teetotaler. I had 2 drinks on Boxing Day, and I spent the next day in bed all day feeling absolutely awful, thinking, why did I even have those 2 drinks? So part of my journey has been, one, yoga really woke me up to, there was something else, a tool there that I had that to help me deal with the stress of my daytime job. And then 2, after 40, everything changing, just body doesn't like it anymore. So I enjoy my days. I hate losing a day. So for me, alcohol's a bit of a no-no from that perspective. So after working in TV for so long, I then went and retrained at the College of Naturopathic Medicine. I will never forget my 8-hour lecture on alcohol, where I sat there with my jaw on the table going, wow, we're being poisoned. So in a nutshell, not to do the full 8 hours lecture, it was, we are encouraged in society to drink a toxin that paralyzes us. And that is where paralytic drunk comes from. And, you know, there are much safer things that we could use recreationally that will not paralyze us and actually probably open our mind a little bit more and not kill all our brain cells, because alcohol kills lots and lots of brain cells, as well as the pressure on the liver, as well as really unbalancing hormones, especially female hormones. So yeah, I think you wrote in one of the things that you wrote, Kristen, and you said, oh, Vicky for years kept saying to me, do you know? And I think it was always that I'd said to you, you know, it's a poison that paralyzes us. Think of Botox on speed, you know, you're paralyzing the part of your body, but here you're paralyzing your whole body with alcohol, which is why people fall over when they come out of the pub if they have too much, or, you know, and that really astounded me that we were encouraged to drink a toxin like that. Now, coming on to the toxin, you know, it is a toxin and we know it's a toxin. The body is always trying to bring you back to homeostasis. The body is always trying to bring you back to center, to balance. And as soon as alcohol goes in, even a sip, even a tiny bit, half a glass, the body's going, danger, danger. We've got to deal with this alcohol. We've got to make these toxins safe. So every hour of one unit takes 1 hour for the liver and the body to process that unit. And when I'm talking a unit, I am talking 125 ml glass of wine. I'm not talking a large glass of wine. No, not one of those goldfish bowls, you know, that they give you, especially in Spain, they give us that, don't they? So even that 125 ml of glass, that would take an hour for your body to break down. Now, one of the things that people, I don't think they realize until they give up drinking, is how clear-headed they start to feel on a regular basis. And I think when you're living in the fog of alcohol, I know when I lived in the fog of alcohol, I thought it was just normal to feel like this every day, feel a bit tired. Then in the afternoons, my blood sugars would crash. I would have to have chocolate. I would have to have carbs. I would have to have pizza, because that was what my body just craved. And the chocolate or a tea with 3 sugars in the afternoon just to get me through, with the caffeine and tea to get me through that tiredness. And then giving up alcohol, I was like, whoa, I'm not getting any of these crashes anymore because I'm not so tired. Because if you drink alcohol, say you only have 4 units, and those 4 units you drink till 9 o'clock at night. Those 4 units are then going to be processed 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. So 1 a.m., the body might have cleared the alcohol, but then all those other processes that are supposed to happen between 10 and 12, 12 and 2, can't be done. So what do those processes look like? Melatonin from your pineal gland. That process of that sleep hormone being made is made between 10 and 12, and it's a hugely important antioxidant for the body. So very important to get that antioxidant being made in the body, because it will protect you against cancer and all sorts of you know, different symptoms, diagnoses, disease, etc. And, you know, and then the liver cleans, the liver's between 2 and 4. Okay, you'll get that. But what happens when the body is overloaded, that's when we make fat cells. So the body says, oh my God, there's so many toxins in the body. We've got pollution, we've got Wi-Fi, we've got alcohol. We have to deal with the alcohol first. We can't even begin to deal with the pesticides and pollution because we've got to make the body safe. And we don't want to die. And that's how the human body is so fascinating. And then what happens is the body makes a fat cell, and it says, you know what, tonight I can't process the pesticides and this because I've dealt with the alcohol, now I've got other jobs to do. So I'm going to make a fat cell, and in that fat cell I'm going to put the hormone or the toxin in it, which is why we then get more fat cells, and why when we do stop drinking or we go on a liver cleanse or a detox, why the weight falls off, because we're getting rid of all the rubbish from just your day to day. But then the backlog of the toxins or the hormones that are sat in the cell being safe in the fat cell can go, oh, I can release you now. It's safe enough to do so, to go to the liver to then be put in the bowel.
Wow, that's really interesting, Vicky. It's like looking back to when I quit alcohol, which is coming up to 18 months now. And during the first 30 days, the first thing that I noticed was that sort of around the midriff area. That was the first thing to go, like my belly. And especially after having 3 kids, things are a little bit podgy around that area. But that was the first thing that I noticed, was the excess fat that I was carrying around my tummy area. It went, not completely,
because the body's then freed up to go, oh, we can deal with that now. Your body, your liver, and again, depending on which genes you have. So I have a gene called GSTM1. Now, what that means is my body doesn't make another antioxidant called glutathione. So the body can make some antioxidants like melatonin, glutathione. Glutathione might be the first time you've ever heard this name, might not. Glutathione is responsible also for bonding to free radicals. So alcohol is a free radical, pollution is a free radical, pesticides are a free radical. But bonds to the free radical to help remove it from the body. Now, my GSTM1 gene doesn't work very well at all. 50% of the population's gene of that gene doesn't work very well. What does that mean in layman's terms? Imagine a 3-lane motorway. So I'm going to use the M6 or the M25, which I'm sure you'll all know, that 3-lane motorway. What happens when one lane is shut? And what happens when it's rush hour? Nothing can get through, can it? It all gets backed up. Suddenly you're sat in a traffic thing for 2 to 3 hours because the traffic's so backed up, trying to get through 2 lanes rather than 1. And if you are part of the 50% of this population that have the GSTM1, your body's going to struggle more to get these free radicals out of the body, struggle to make the glutathione. So there are supplements that you can take to support that and make that work a lot better and a lot efficiently. But again, you know, knowing about those pathways will also massively impact your health, because the risks with alcohol become stomach cancer, Alzheimer's. There's a vascular type of dementia that is driven by too much alcohol. You know, so all of those things, it's great when we're in our 20s and 30s, we feel completely immortal. Oh, it's never going to happen to us. And I don't know the ages of the group here, but I'm in my 40s. So, you know, suddenly I'm like, oh my God, I'm not immortal anymore. Shit,
I'm really curious, Vicky, about the glutathione. And is it only supplementation as a way for people to increase this, or is this something that people can eat? Any like specific type of food groups that could help?
So yes, there are lots of foods that can help support that pathway. I mean, the most great supplement that you can take is the NAC. And NAC is the building blocks almost. You can't build a building without bricks and cement. So the NAC is a good way of putting the building blocks in for all the materials for your body to go, I can make glutathione. You know, a clean, well-balanced diet full of good proteins, lots of cruciferous vegetables. So if it's the first time anyone's hearing the term cruciferous, that is your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts, your cabbage, things like that. So what I do to support my GSTN1 and my detox pathways, which aren't brilliant, and bear in mind, you need these detox pathways to be working for your hormones as well, because you don't want to get estrogen, not that this is turning into a hormone thing, but you don't want to get estrogen dominance because you can't get the estrogen out of the body via the liver, because then you're heading towards other types of cancers, you know, not specifically cancers that are just driven, you know, like stomach cancer that are driven by alcohol, or liver cirrhosis of the liver. And we do actually look at some of those genes as well that tell you your risk of getting cirrhosis of the liver if you do drink too much. So again, the genetic testing is fascinating. But yeah, there is lots you can do. Cruciferous veg, take NAC, clean, good protein. And when I'm talking about that, just don't buy any meat from a supermarket, go to a farmer's, butcher's, try to get grass-fed where you can, try to get organic where you can. It's really, really important, because the meat now is so pumped with growth hormones and stuff like that. And again, that will just overload your body. So if you do want to drink alcohol, your body's already overloaded from a really toxic environment. So to give you some perspective, there are 85,000 toxins in our environment right now. In early 1900s, there was only 2,000. So when your grandfather drank whiskey every day and smoked 20 cigarettes and ate a bacon sandwich every day, that was okay, because he wasn't also dealing with 85,000 other toxic exposures to his liver and to his body. So if there's ever a time of really taking responsibility of your own health and empowering yourself to live a long life, it's understanding your genes and knowing your weaknesses. But you know, we're fighting a toxic world anyway. Throw in a bottle of vodka on a Friday night, or several bottles of wine on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or you know, whatever. I mean, that's how I used to live. I think I only had 2 days a week off. I think it was a Monday and a Wednesday were my day offs, and the rest it was drink. You know, Sunday, sit in the pub all afternoon till about 10 o'clock at night. Go to work Monday feeling absolutely rubbish. By Wednesday, Thursday, I'd be feeling all right again. And Thursday was the new Friday. That was always a big night.
So I guess there's people that are in like different situations. So for example, I've decided that I'm an all or nothing person. I'm either drinking or I'm not drinking, hence why I'm now 18 months into this. You've said that you're not a really strict teetotaler and that you'll occasionally have a drink. You had a couple of drinks over Christmas. I work with people who maybe just want to stop drinking for a month, just to give their body a break for a month. If someone is in that situation where maybe they're having an occasional drink and then having periods of time between those drinks, what would you recommend people do when they decide they're going to stop drinking? Or maybe they've had a few drinks over the weekend and then decide they're going to stop for a few weeks. What would be a really effective protocol for that person? Like what kind of lifestyle would help them get back to sort of that homeostasis as quickly as possible?
So first of all, if you are going to drink and it's a wedding or it's your Friday night out with your work colleagues in your office, because that's the culture that your company has created, or you know, because there are bonding moments that do happen in those crazy Friday nights, you know, and I do know that employees do encourage it. So you can take your B vitamins, you can take vitamin C. Magnesium is really, really important as a supplement to support the body and to support phase 2 detoxification within the liver. The magnesium is responsible for over 300 enzyme functions in the body. We are all magnesium deficient because it's not in the soil anymore, because the soil's been messed up with the pesticides. So if I said there was 2 really important things that everyone should take regardless, drinking or not drinking, just to stay healthy, would be a B complex and a magnesium form at night, and vitamin C, which will help mop up the free radicals. Now, if I have had a drink and I got a really good busy day tomorrow, I will always take activated charcoal before bed. I always take a vitamin C, and I always take activated charcoal. And the activated charcoal would bind some of the toxins together, therefore lessening the load on the liver, therefore lessening the chances of a headache the next day. You know, when we all feel rubbish with the headache and our heads are banging, generally coming from the liver being overloaded in a short amount of time. Again, the cruciferous veg, the liver loves cruciferous veg. So on your good days, after you've got through eating the pizza or the burger the next day, and the day after you start to feel a bit healthy and you go, oh, all right, now I could have a smoothie or something like that, or a soup or a vegetable curry. Just make sure that it's full of cruciferous veg, so cauliflower, broccoli. So what I do is I keep a cabbage in my fridge at all times. So I have a red cabbage chop, kebab style, because the red cabbage raw, covered in Himalayan salt with lemon juice and apple cider vinegar with the mother, so you're getting the good bacteria in, because alcohol will also strip and kill all of your good bacteria. You know, you're starting to just put stuff back in and just support those detox pathways. Homemade coleslaw, so white cabbage, red cabbage, carrots, with a homemade mayo, not Hellmann's, because Hellmann's actually have some carcinogens in it. Or go to a health food shop and find a mayo. But it's really easy to make mayo in about 4 or 5 minutes with a food processor at home, and it will taste much better. And then you've always got a go-to in the fridge when you're hungry that you can add to a wrap with some hummus, or just add to your salad, you know, for your lunch with your chicken or something, or whatever that may be. The other really quick win, just from the liver, after a binge or after a weekend out, and then you're in the week where you're cleaning, I cannot shout enough about seeding and sprouting. So these are broccoli sprouts, that's alfalfa, that's broccoli, that's mung beans. These are £2 a pack. They sprout in 2 to 4 days. One handful is equivalent of several broccolis. So if you're time poor, which a lot of us are because of our demands of our job, then if we've got children, blah, 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 and you need quick hits, these are a wonderful way to get quick hits. They can be added to smoothies. They can be added to the top of the salad. I personally just take the jar out of the fridge and just put it in. I'm like, it's good for me, it's good for me, it's good for me. Just get it in.
So these are like supercharged cruciferous veg. These are going to support the liver, especially if you've been drinking.
Yes.
It will help to bring the liver back into a state of balance.
From a natural food perspective, I mean, the other thing that I love, which is my favourite, and anyone with a GSTN1, as well as the NAC and cruciferous veg advice, I would always put in some milk thistle. Milk thistle repairs the liver as well as helps support and stimulate the liver. But if you have done a little bit of damage, I mean, the liver is such a wonderful organ, it repairs itself. So you can go quite far with your liver. And I'm not saying to do, because that is not good advice, I might add, exclaimer. But your liver is a wonderful, wonderful organ that is constantly repairing itself. So if you want to give it a bit more support to repair and stimulate, then milk thistle is a wonderful herb to use. Do be careful if on any medications. Same with grapefruit. If on any medications, grapefruit will change how you absorb your medication in the liver. So could throw you over into dangerous, into more overdose. Or sometimes if it's life-threatening that you have to take that tablet at that time, at that day, and there's a certain amount of dosage. So you only absorb 4 ml out of 10 ml. Your liver gets rid of 6 ml. Say that doctor has done that calculation on that 4 ml, and then you absorb less with the grapefruit, and then that also could be a dangerous situation. So grapefruit medication are a bit of a no, but grapefruit, again, for stimulating detox pathways is very good. Now, can I jump into the one more gene, the alcohol gene?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you've been talking a lot to some different genes that are going on. It'd be really interesting if you could tell us some more about the specific alcohol gene and how we can find out what gene we have, what it means, and what we can do once we find out?
So in our reports, there's one gene, ADH1B, and this is more about how your body breaks down the alcohol. So when you drink the alcohol, it turns it into a chemical compound called acetylide. Now, if you've ever heard acetylide, you may or may not have, but acetylide is part of the formaldehyde family, and it's a known carcinogen. So you are, you know, when you are consuming alcohol, you are drinking a known carcinogen to give you cancer. So in that gene, it tells us whether you convert the alcohol to acetylide slowly or fast. Slowly is good because it gives the body time to bond free radicals to it and get it out safely. Fast isn't so good because it will overwhelm the body with acetylide, which is dangerous.
Okay.
So that's the gene there. And not so much in the West, we don't see it, but definitely more in Asian communities. Their livers are completely different. And how they process and break down liver is a lot different. Basically, their bodies don't really like it. And that's why you might see, if you are traveling around Asia and you see an Asian person have half a bottle of beer, suddenly they might flush or get a bit giggly, and you're like, I've only had half a beer. But how they are built genetically, and their livers are completely different to us in the West, which then makes me think about evolution, because in evolution, we develop genes to cope with our environments. And so if in, you know, the Asian society, alcohol wasn't such a big thing as it is over here in the West, then they, this is my take on it, is that they haven't developed evolutionary, excuse me, the genes to process that. And I find that fascinating.
So how can people find out? Because this is what you do through DNA Pal.
Yes.
To help people find out which genes they have and which genes are expressing, which genes are not expressing. How can people find that out and kind of go on that little exploratory mission?
Yeah. So it's a simple test at home. There is a price point. We do have Klarna, so we offer it over 3 months as well, because we appreciate it's a price point. It's a test you only need to do once in your life. That information is with you then for the rest of your life. So it is an investment, but it is a worthwhile investment. It's a simple swab in the mouth that you do at home, 1 to 2 minutes. And then you post it off, and then the results take 4 to 6 weeks to come back. Used to take 3 months before that, used to take 6 months. So it has come down quite considerably. The science is quite new. It's only about 20 years old. As that grows, we capture 800,000 SNPs. We only report on the ones that have got real strong, solid evidence behind them and research behind them. But as they grow, the reason we wanted to build a digital platform like an app meant that as the research grows and we get more insights on your genes, we can just add it to the app, and then you can go, oh, there's a new thing here. Let's have a look what my genes say. It's been life-changing for me. I was 13.5 stone when I found out, and I'm only 5'2", just had my second baby. Both my breasts were like Pandora off of Eurotrash. I don't know if you ever remember her, but imagine 2 footballs. I was 2 footballs. And even my neighbour came around and went, bloody hell, Vicky, what happened to your breast? I'm like, I know, but it's 2 footballs. But I was huge. And I was eating a lot of cake at 3, you know, the 3-4 a.m. feeds. I'd eat a whole cake or a whole packet of biscuits. So I wasn't living my best life. And the GSTM1, I didn't know quite what to do with that. And I've got a red there. And so's my boys, so's my partner. And that's been invaluable to how I now do family meals and how I make sure I support the boys' health. And I went to a nutritional therapist. She said, eat 8 to 10 cruciferous veg per day. I religiously did this for 1 whole year. And I did eat 8 to 10 for 1 whole year. And 3.5 stone dropped off. And the following year, where I wasn't as strict, I still ate cruciferous veg every day, but not 8 to 10. Another 1.5 stone fell off, and I'm now 8.5 stone, 47, and I'm back to where I was when I was 18.
So can I just ask quickly, if during this time you'd been drinking alcohol, would this have then meant that your body would have chosen to process the alcohol before dealing with the weight loss and what you was trying to.
Well, if you look back at my 20s and 30s, my mates used to call me chunky but funky. That was what I was. So yeah. You know, I was a size 10 to 12, but I was solid, you know, and I had a stomach and I was bloated a lot, which I never really connected until I sort of looked back. And I know now that it was alcohol, because when I do drink alcohol, I feel it go straight on, feel it go straight back onto my body. And I'm like, oh, that would be the alcohol. So I've already got a liver that's only got two pathways working and one pathway's blocked. So whenever I put that into rush hour, my body's going to make fat cells to house all my hormones and toxins, especially as I'm going into perimenopause. I've got more fluctuating hormones going around anyway. So there's more hormones to put into fat cells if my liver isn't optimized. So I'm always working on my liver to get stuff out. And another way of telling how toxic you are from an alcohol or health perspective is, do you smell under your armpits? Now, I still smell I don't wear deodorant. So the only time I smell is a couple of days before my period. And then I know I'm getting my period. And I still know then that the hormones still can't get out. And then they're rerouting to my lymphatic system to get out. So, you know, if you're just masking it every day with deodorant, you're not going to truly know your body and when the liver's overloaded and not overloaded. And then you've got in Chinese medicine, your eyes. So the eyes are the liver and the kidneys. So if you get really big liver and, you know, bags under your eyes, then that can be that the liver and the kidneys are not filtering so well.
Well, that's really interesting that you've got these different kind of, it's like a little key to understanding on the outside what's going on the inside of the body. Yeah. So how we can just pay attention to them things and not mask them and not ignore them.
But say I mean I run a detox program. It's only 10 days and it's really simple. It's just about putting all cruciferous in at every meal. So we're stimulating the detox pathways. It's not a starvation diet. I do take out wheat, alcohol, caffeine, sugar, and dairy, because they're the 5 inflammatory food groups for those 10 days. Most people after the 10 days feel so amazing they carry on till day 28. They go, I'm not stopping this. And on average, in those 28 days, they lose up to a stone. So 7 pounds in the 10 days and up to a stone within the month. And they can't believe it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's because you're putting all the wrong things in up to this point. So you're just making these fat cells for the toxins that can't get out. You know, and alcohol is a toxin, and alcohol is will kill your brain, can cause dementia, can cause liver cirrhosis of the liver, can cause cancers, and paralyzes you and makes you fall over and show you knickers if you're really drunk. You know, and we go, oh, sign me up on a Friday night, sign me up, I'm in, you know, really.
You know, everything that you've said has been really interesting. So just to summarize, we've got that to support your body is to increase the antioxidants, melatonin, glutathione,
and vitamin C. And vitamin C. You can't make or store vitamin C, so very important to keep putting vitamin C in. Especially if you know your lifestyle isn't great, or you know you've got a big, you know, wedding weekend ahead and you're going to be drinking from Friday till Sunday.
Okay.
You know, because there are social events where you're pressured to drink.
What kind of quantities of vitamin C would you recommend someone take to help with that?
I take 2 to 3 grams daily anyway. And the reason I do is to support my collagen, to bind to any oxidants that I've got going on in the environment. And so probably if I've been on an aeroplane, for example, with the radiation, I go up to 5,000 for the next couple of days. Not in one go, but spread out. Yeah, one in the morning, one mid-morning, one lunchtime, one mid-afternoon, one evening, or before bed. So I'm quite militant about that, especially, you know, you're going through the scanners, you're going on an aeroplane. There's a lot of radiation, plus you've got your phones radiating all the time, plus your Wi-Fi, plus all your other devices. So 2 to 3 is sort of an average, but if you're going to abuse yourself, I'd probably go up to 5, 6. They say go up to bowel tolerance. So when your bowel goes really, really soft in like diarrhea, that's when you've had enough for your body.
Right, okay.
And it does tell you how sick you are, because I've taken 20 grams on a day when I was really sick and I didn't hit bowel tolerance. And I was like, whoa. And in cancer, we can go up to 80 without hitting bowel tolerance.
Wow.
Through the digestive system. So again, it gives you quite a good inkling to how sick or not sick your body is using vitamin C.
And then food-wise, we are looking at getting as much cruciferous veg in. So that's cauliflower, cabbage, any kind of dark leafy greens.
Yeah, love dark leafy green because that's your B9, that's your folate. So folate.
Okay.
And there is a gene that we look at called the MTHFR gene, which is nicknamed the motherfucker gene. It's that important. So it's a motherfucker gene that can fuck you up. Sorry to swear. I didn't name these genes, by the way. But it helps me get across the importance of the gene. And that comes from green leafy veg, so dark spring greens, dark cabbage, pak choi, rockets. Rockets great for stimulating bile and getting everything. It's a bitter and helps stimulates everything, getting it to the liver and the gallbladder. So yeah, so anything with folate as well. And with the MTHFR gene, it's also a methylation pathway, and a methylation pathway is another form of detoxification, so that can support in alcohol, heavy metals, things like that. So, I mean, being healthy really comes down to trying not to put as many toxins in your body as you can avoid. And that includes alcohol, if you can. Eating a really balanced, varied diet. So your omega-3s, but from wild fish, not farmed. Eating meat is fine, as long as it's grass-fed or organic. And as much colourful veg, because they all have different things. You know, red stuff is full of resveratrol. If you've got a choice of a white onion versus a red onion, always choose the red onion. If you've got a choice of a green cauliflower over a white cauliflower, go for the green. So anything, the more colourful it is, the more nutrients you're going to have in it. And all of that is just going to work on binding toxins to the body to get the free radicals out to keep you safer. Just to add in, NAC, if somebody is struggling with their alcohol, wants to give up but actually can't, you know, because people do have addictive personalities, or people have a lot of stress, or it's their crux, it's their tool. I mean, try yoga class, because that was life-changing for me, and I didn't really even realize it was going to change my life so greatly. So I got home and went, oh, I don't need that wine, I feel amazing, and all the breathing exercises. But NAC can also, in some clinics, they use NAC to try and help people get off the alcohol. So when we look at that as a building block to glutathione, I think that's quite interesting that some clinics will use it to try and help with alcohol addiction and cravings. Fantastic. And also, you know, with addiction, as you know, because you're working in a clinic with that, a lot of this comes down to trauma in their childhood or things, you know. So go and do the work, go and do the breath work, go and do the it doesn't have to be therapy counselling. There's so much out there now. TRE, trauma response, breath work. I can't think of them all, you know, but womb healing. There's so much stuff out there now to access.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of choice. If you do want to quit alcohol and you're very much struggling, there is a lot of choice of different routes that you can go down for sure.
Different therapies, because I see people a lot in clinic and they say, oh, I've been talking about it for 2 years, but nothing's changed. And I'm like, yeah, well, sometimes the talking therapies don't always work. Sometimes they're successful for some, but not everyone. So maybe go and try some more of the woo-woo stuff, because it really does work.
Thanks, Vicky. I'm wondering if there's any questions from anyone.
We've got 2 things in chat, but I don't know if they're from you.
There were, it's just, can you share the seeds and the sprouts? Can you just, the ones that you
so I buy them at a place called Natural Dispensary. Do you want me to write that into the chat?
I'll pop it in. Go on, you can show. Natural Dispensary.
Yeah, they're really easy. So you put them in a jar, soak them for 24 hours in the jar. You need to buy a cheesecloth off of Amazon. which is like six quid for a load of cheesecloths, an elastic band, which I'm sure you can find at home. And I'm sure you can find an empty jar. And 1 packet, just soak for 24 hours. And then after 24 hours, just empty out the water, so they're just damp. And then every day you just give them one rinse through with clean distilled water, not tap water, ideally, filtered water. And then they grow 2 to 4 days. You've got an abundance of nutrients in a jar.
Fantastic.
And they're cheap. They're like £2 a pack. So I'll just write it in here where I buy it from. You do have to register at Natural Dispensary. It is a practitioner place, but you can just put my name in to open the practitioner account. I don't know if they sell them on Amazon because I only buy them there. But if you just put organic, and they're organic, so they're not
A Natural Dispensary, is that just for the UK? Do they ship
no, everywhere, all around the world.
worldwide? Okay,
Yeah, it's what I use. They come here in Spain, takes 1 week to Spain, and I
Okay.
don't pay any import tax because the VAT gets offset against the customs tax. So if you're in France, Dublin, I don't know where you're all from, Spain, London, up north, Scotland, all of it. It's it's very good.
Fantastic. Has anyone got any questions that they'd like to bring before we wrap things up? No? Great. Well, thanks, Vicky, and thanks everybody that's shown up today. I hope that it's been helpful for you in some shape or form. I'm going to go back through and make a list of everything that you mentioned today.
What was that? Was that a question?
No, it's okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back through. I'm going to make a list of everything that you've brought up today because it's been quite a lot of information. I'm not sure if everyone's had a chance to get that written down, but I know there's quite a lot of helpful stuff that's been spoken about today. So once I've got it all written up, I'll send it out to everybody.
Don't forget the activated charcoal if it is a big one.
Activated charcoal. Okay, I keep feeling like everything's getting bumped up to the top of the list.
Activated charcoal, then broccoli sprouts. No. Yeah, I've got a very big cupboard of stuff.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Vicky.
You're
Really
so welcome. Thank you for coming and listening. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.